One of the biggest questions that I get from agents that are considering Real Broker is what the tech actually looks like. So today, that's exactly what we're going to go over. I've been using these tools since 2021, and so I've watched them evolve. I'm going to show you what works, what is still being built out or is in beta, and what you can realistically expect from day one if you are joining Real. I'm Katie Day. I'm an agent here at Real. I have been at Real since 2021, so I've seen the company grow from 2,000 agents up to over 30,000 agents, and today we're digging into the tech. So let's go. If you want to take a look at the tech and you don't want to have a conversation with someone, you can go to tech.onereal.com to check out this website and see some of the tech. We'll dig in on here to give you a high-level overview, and then I'll dig into the actual kind of what it looks like if you were an agent here at Real. So again, tech.onereal.com. reZEN, reZEN, is the platform that Real uses as our transaction management software. What's really cool about reZEN is it's on your desktop as well as on your mobile. So you're able to see your transactions at a glance. You're able to see a high-level overview of your financials, and so that's your income as it relates to your commission, your revenue share, and your stock purchase program. And then you can see all of your deals. So we used to use SkySlope for our transaction management software, but now it's an internal system where you have all of your transactions built in. It has everything in here. So a lot of times agents will come to me when we're talking about Real, and like all of their systems and all of their things, like they have like 47 different logins. And while you have different logins for different things, when you log into reZEN, everything is in there. So if you have a team, it's all laid out in there. Wallet is laid out in there. All of your transactions, mortgage and title. If you're in a state that has mortgage and title, we have a signature platform. If you want to use Real signature platform, you can do your wealth plan, and all of your listings are listed in there as well. As far as compliance, there's kind of two different ways compliance works. You upload all of your documents into the system, and then when you upload them in, there's both AI checks that go pretty quickly, as well as human checks from our compliance team and broker team. And then in here, you're also able to see like transparently what you is being taken out of each check. And so a lot of times, I know previously with companies I was at before, sometimes you would have like say a $10,000 commission, and then everything is taken out of it, and like you can't figure out where or what why it's less money. And so in here, you're able to see all of it pretty easily. And so I'm going to share my screen here real quick. And this is what reZEN looks like on the agent side of things. And so in here, you have your overview of your current cap cycle. You have your overview of your revenue share and equity and everything in here. So you can see how many people you have in your network, how much money you've made, and everything. It has your offices, your licenses, and everything. So this is like the home screen of your reZEN. And then over here on the left-hand side, so you can see over here, there's a bunch of logos. And so that you have your inbox. And so this is where you kind of go back and forth with brokers. If there's like questions on deals or things that, they're asking for, maybe you missed a signature line or something needs to be filled out differently, like that kind of thing. You've got all of your transactions in here, and so I'll hop into that shortly. All of your listings. So like obviously when you get a listing, you need to put that into, reZEN as soon as you get it signed. And then obviously once it goes under contract, then it'd be a transaction. We have our offices. So if you are licensed in more than one state, this would be where you would find all of your broker information, everything like that. If you have a team, your team would show here, and it shows where your agents are towards capping, because in an ideal world, everyone would have the same anniversary date, but that's not how it works in real life. So all of that's here. Real wallet, Real signature, wealth plan, which I have an entire video where I go over the wealth plan, but you can run that for yourself, and you can also run it for other agents. And so if you're considering Real, I could run this for you if you want one. Just let me know. Directory, Work Vivo, which is like our internal intranet, partners, agent marketplace. So we have like partners, which are companies that Real has negotiated, discounts with or perks with if you are a Real agent. And then agent marketplaces, like agents have some things where they, potentially have products that are for other agents. And so that's in the agent marketplace. The marketing center, One Real Mortgage, One Real Title, Real Academy, and Community. So this is where our masterminds are housed, and classes, and Dusty, where he does like trainings and some coaching programs and things like that. One Real Impact, different reports, events, and then other quick links. So again, this is the general place where everything lives with everything you need to run your business. And you've got a mobile app as well. So you can pull this up on your phone. I generally don't like doing like transaction management from my phone, but for a quick, like, hey, I need to message the broker, or for, something on your phone that you need to do very quickly and easily, like you got it there. And you can also see your cap cycle. You can see your income. You can see all of that laid out in the system. Okay. I'll just show a couple of quick things as it relates to reZEN. I'm not going to go through every single thing. I'll probably just do one video just on reZEN. I don't want this to be a 75-minute long video. But here in transactions, when you have a transaction that you are working, basically what you can do is come in here. And if let me find one, click on one of these. Okay, so this is a transaction that we are representing the buyer side. And basically what you can do is you see a road to success. And so this is kind of like the pizza tracker for real of like, okay, we have an accepted contract. The broker's reviewed it. It's been marked compliant. And it kind of shows you where things are at. You have a checklist. And so this is where all of the documents are. And so depending on what state you're in, you have different things that are like optional, or like if it's applicable to the transaction files. And then you have things that are required, right? Like you have to have a contract, or you have to have, specific things that are signed. And obviously some of that stuff is like state specific. And so all of that's in here. And then like sometimes, there's situations in which like things aren't signed or they're not applicable to transactions. You can add a comment here if like there's a reason why we don't have something that's like required for a transaction, so that like you can notify the broker team ahead of time, right? As opposed to like uploading all the docs and then getting dinged for it later. We have details. And so in here, this is basically where we have the different payment participants on the transaction. And then you can adjust the commission split. So if you're a team lead, you can change this to 70-30 or 50-50 or 75-25 or whatever it is. And you can either do it by dollar amount or by percentage. And so, sometimes you have like that you are giving $1,700 to someone off the top of the transaction or something like that. And so you can adjust the commission splits on a per deal basis. And then here you can see, depending on if someone's capped or not capped, like they have a CBR fee, they have, their pre-cap equity contribution or post-cap equity contribution, a real split if they're not yet capped. And then we do have rewards for Real Wallet. And so you can click here to redeem rewards to, basically take that from your brokerage fees. And so just real quick to kind of give a high level overview, if you keep money in your Real Wallet account and if you do things throughout the year, so like in the past, there's been like, hey, if you buy swag from the Real store this week, if you go to Rise and stay at the room block hotel, different stuff like that. If you do these things, then you get certain points. And then also if you keep money in your Real Wallet account, you get certain points. And then you can use these points to offset some of your brokerage fees with Real. And so you see here, I have 3,800 points. I could use this to redeem against these fees, and then I would make more money. So instead of it being $5,100 knocked down to $4,000, I can potentially make more money there. So all of this is in here. Every single transaction has an email address. And so this is like the address at rezenfilecabinet.com. I can copy this and I can send my docs to this email, right? So say I get the executed contract docs back and I'm working with the buyer from the listing agent, right? I can then take those and forward them to this email, and it's going to drop them in here into the file cabinet. And I can say, oh, well, this is the executed contract. This is the receipted contract. This is the third-party financing addendum, all of that. And then once all of that happens and I approve the commission calculation, then I'll have my CDA. And so this gives you the ability to basically approve or run your CDAs once a file has been approved whenever you want. And you can do that so that you get them and get paid at closing, especially in a state like Texas, where it's like a split check state and you can walk into closing and walk out with a check. It's important to have all of your stuff done and approved and all of that. So I can click to view commission documents and everything, and that they would be here if I had them already done. So that's the financial side of things. It's important. Also, where you have a team, you can click in here and it'll have all of your agents and when their caps are. And so we're a pro team. And so the way that pro teams work is they will allow you to adjust things on a per deal basis. And so I'll do an entire video on pro teams, but basically pro teams allows you to be able to have different splits for different agents. It allows you to have different splits for different deal types. It also allows you to have like team caps. It allows you to do different things that make it a lot more flexible to have, different plans and different things based on, again, agent or deal type or lead source or whatever it may be. And so a lot of times I speak to agents at brokerages where they don't have that. And it's frustrating or difficult because then their transaction coordinator is the one who's sitting there being like, okay, well, if this is 60-40 and this one's 75-25, but this one has a transaction fee and this one has that, it just starts to get a little confusing. Leo is our AI assistant. And so there's a few different ways that Leo is deployed in our businesses. And so the first is like through agent support. And so I always ask agents when they ask me a question, or I always go into reZEN and I click on Leo. So up here at the top, you see where it says Ask Leo. So if I click in here, there are different questions that are like kind of already there or different things. And so like I could ask, when does my license expire? And then it'll pop up over here on the right-hand side. And Leo will tell me that my license expires on November 30th, 2027. Sometimes agents will have questions on like different, like when is Rise in 2026? And so this says, Rise takes place October 19th, 2026. Blah, 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 blah. For more information, click here and it'll take you to the website. And so if I was like looking for training or I was looking for, some specific information, this is the place to ask every single time. And so you have like your AI assistant for questions. Leo does also monitor transactions. And so you can ask it to create graphics or, different things that you may need. And so, if I was looking at our transactions and I can say, please, let's see, I asked it to please create just sold images for, and it's creating a flyer for my just sold post. So we have Leo where you can ask questions, agent support side of things. We also have Leo Broker. And so Leo Broker reviews all of the files. It flags potential issues. And so it looks and does the first initial AI review of a file. So why is this important, or why should this matter to you? The reason why this is important is it basically allows our brokers to be able to take a second look at files to confirm, right? It also allows them, since now they don't have to review the files the first time, they're doing this second human check on the files. It's allowing them to spend more time supporting agents, going to events, doing trainings, and just being that broker that supports their agents as opposed to the broker that reviews files, right? And so this is really nice because it does the automated review, but you can also ask questions that are like broker related. And so whether that's asking questions about, like this is saying, like dual agency or GCI, or explaining a payout, like you can go into Leo Broker review and ask different questions to Leo on that front. Oh, one other thing too that I forgot to mention is if you're looking at my screen here down in the corner, you can also go voice mode and talk to Leo instead of typing. So that's kind of cool. You don't have to type. You can also just speak in and have a conversation with Leo. And so, if you're on the go, I feel like that's something that's helpful. When you are, just driving or something like that, you probably shouldn't be, texting and driving, but we can all probably do better on that. All right. So the other thing that I really like about Leo is Hey Leo. And so Hey Leo is our AI assistant when it comes to home search. So we will pull this up and I will show you Hey Leo. And so this is the AI RM in here. And so if you are interested in trying the AI RM out, you can text my Hey Leo number to have a conversation and like see how this goes. I've tested it out with my own number and just texted it on my own. But if you text 281-729-4974, that's 281-729-4974, and basically say like, hey, I want to look at houses, or hey, I think I started this search with like, I don't remember exactly what I said. I'm interested in a house, right? And so you can basically, say something to that effect. And then when you go back and forth in conversation, then it's going to like provide recommendations as far as properties and things properties that they think that you may like based on the preferences that you're providing. What's really cool too, just from like a kind of nerd standpoint on Hey Leo, is it's going to deliver the personalized listings, but then the more that they look at properties, like this is the nerdy side of things, the more that they look at properties or the things that they look at pictures, it's also going to kind of start to distill that down to be like, oh, they spent 7 hours looking at homes with pools, but they've never said they want a pool. So maybe we should ask them like, hey, do you want a pool? Right. And so it's going to ask different things to try to, basically nurture these leads. So again, you can text 281-729-4974 to try this out yourself. I think that there is a lot that AI can do to like hand in hand help to create better relationships. And so one of the things that I think is cool with Hey Leo is like you could use this to have like make a post and be like, hey, text this number and see what it gives you, and try this out for me, right? You could say, hey, text this number and just have a conversation. And it's like, it's no pressure, right? Because a lot of times people don't want to have conversations with an agent just yet because they're not ready and they don't want to bother anyone. And so if you say like, hey, this is my AI assistant, like, let's see what it gives you type thing. The other thing is like, how many leads do you have? Like, go look in your CRM. How many leads do you have that like you've never gotten in touch with? Or how many leads do you have that maybe you talked to once or twice, but then they kind of fell through the cracks? And so are there leads that you have that then could potentially be nurtured by Leo or send properties to that you're just never going to follow up with, right? Like almost every agent I know has hundreds or thousands of people in their database that they aren't communicating with. And then a new lead comes in and that becomes their biggest priority, right? And so this could then take all of those leads that are currently in your system and nurture them to the point that they are also ready to transact. So all of this is in here. You can add listings in here. This is my contact info. And then these are all of the convos. And so in here, I can, edit names and things like that and add insights if someone, tells me based on a buyer consultation that they, want to make sure that they're only on cul-de-sac streets, or they want to make sure that they have a home with a pool, or they want something with an updated kitchen. Like all of those little preferences can kind of go in here. So that's Leo AI Assistant. And again, if you want to try that out, text that 281-729-4974 number. These are just images, of like things that people can do. So Hey Leo makes the home search faster and more seamless by using AI to understand clients' preferences, identify matching properties, and help schedule tours. So if you were to text that 281 number, 281-729-4974, you could be like, hey, give me 3-bedroom homes near schools, new construction homes, monthly mortgage on a $400,000 home, homes with pools, best condo neighborhoods. And so this allows you to have more human-centered relationships. All right, so that is Hey Leo. And then what I want to talk about next is Wallet. So Wallet is very interesting and it's pretty cool in a few different ways. The first is that there are many states where it is a single check state. And so a single check state basically means that the title company or the attorney or whoever is processing the transaction only pays out funds in one check and that check only goes to the brokerage, right? So they pay Real $10,000 or $20,000, and then Real takes that check and splits it up between, different agents that are on that deal, right? So if it's you and a team member, or you and your team leader, or, a agent and an admin, whatever that looks like, Real would then split that up. So historically, not just at Real, but at other brokerages, if something like that happens, say you close on a Monday, the deal closes on Monday and the title company wires out funds on Monday, but it's after the wire cutoff time. So then the brokerage gets the funds on Tuesday. Then they have to do all the processing on their end. And then maybe you get your wire or your check on Tuesday, maybe, but it's probably like Wednesday, maybe Thursday. And so you close on Monday, but you don't get your funds until Wednesday or Thursday. Like, that gets frustrating. It's difficult to budget and plan for your money. So the simplest thing with Real Wallet is that if you're in a single check state that only pays out one payment to the brokerage, it can go into Real Wallet and you can get paid generally same day, but within 24 to 48 hours. So you can get paid very quickly. And so that's kind of the first thing that's like the easiest and best kind of use case, but we'll dig into Real Wallet a little bit more. So Real Wallet, I'll show you the back end here in a little bit, but basically you have your Real Wallet business checking account, right? It's a Visa debit card, but then you can also have a tax planning account. So you can say, hey, for every single check that comes in, I want to put 20 or 30 or 35% into a separate account. I don't know about you, but for me, if I don't have money in my main checking account, I don't spend it, right? Like, if it's in a separate account, a separate savings account, or a separate account that I don't have a debit card to, I don't spend it. So you can then say, hey, I'm going to plan for taxes to actually pay my taxes on time. And then finally, we have Real Wallet Capital. And this isn't in every state, but in a lot of states, you have the ability to borrow money from Real based on your financials with the company. And so Real knows how much money you make because they're processing your transactions. They're also processing revenue share and everything like that. So they know how much assets and money you're making on a monthly basis. And so you can borrow money against that and then pay it back on deals. And so rather than having like commission advances or things like that, this is a better way in my mind to potentially borrow money. And there's no like credit checks or anything like that. You have access to your commissions and revenue share faster. You can tap and pay on the go with Real Wallet. And then you can also sync this up to QuickBooks to then, if you have a bookkeeper or whatever, they're able to help you track all of your stuff in QuickBooks. And then the other thing that I mentioned earlier, but didn't really dig into in depth, is the more that you use Real Wallet, the more points you can earn. So you have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And so the more money and the more spending you do with your Real debit card, the more points you can get to then be able to offset your brokerage fees. I will show you here. Basically, you can come in here to Wallet and you have your commissions and everything that's paid into that. You can set it up with integrations. You can move money to different accounts and everything, but it's pretty straightforward on that front. So Wallet is pretty cool. Last thing I'm going to show on tech, obviously we've showed reZEN, I've showed a little bit of Leo, showed Wallet, and then we've got marketing. So we have a few different things and marketing tools that are built into the system. So we have a few different things that you can use to make new designs, right? Flyers and brochures, social media posts. You can, save them and share them. You can also print them. And whenever you have a new listing, something that is kind of cool, Leo actually creates personalized marketing assets, right? So anytime you have a new listing or different things, you're able to access these social media shareables or the new listing assets or things like that. We also are able to get like the templates that are state compliant, which is really nice. We like pre-built yard signs and business card templates and stuff that the broker team has already approved. So you could just plug in your name and your phone number and go. And then you're able to see, some of the other stuff. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of some of the tech here at Real. I'm happy to dig in with you to go over some of this in more depth and in more detail if you are looking to potentially make a move over, or you're just curious about what the real tech looks like, feel free to drop into my Calendly, and you can set up a call for us to hop on Zoom to kind of go over all of these different features and all of these different things. Again, kind of more in depth. It's just a little bit of an overview so you could have an idea of what the tech looks like here at Real. But if you got any other questions, shoot me a message, and I look forward to talking to you soon, but we'll see you on the next video.